If you're having tax problems, I feel bad for you, son. You might have 529 problems, but taxes ain't one. No?
Taxes is going to be one.
Taxes is going to be one. Okay, Here we go. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Cash Compound Podcast. I am one of your two hosts, Jay Do.
I'm Jonah.
And we're going to talk through, I gave it a rough introduction, but I think our audience is going to feel it.
It was almost there. I got it.
Should I say it a little different?
Say it again for the people in the
If
back.
you're having kid problems, I feel bad for you, son.
Pun intended.
I got 99 problems, but a 529 ain't one?
That's better. Sure. I like it.
Y'all know what I'm
Today's
talking about.
episode, we are going to, it's back to school season.
It
actually.
is August right now, the second week of August. Cheers to all of you who are now getting your home back. You're reclaiming it from the mercenaries who have been at home for 12 weeks this
The
summer.
children. Now, a lot of we've got a couple kids between us. I think 7 is the correct number. 4 for you, 3 for me. I found a couple photos of them.
Okay.
On our pad here. So for all those who are paying attention or watching on YouTube, I'll pull them up and we'll have some fun with it if I can figure out my buttons.
There we go. Okay, so we're at the it just expired. One of the fun things that we did
Look
for
at that Cash Compound
last year
shirt for all those on YouTube land.
Those are the Banking Bros right there. The next generation.
There you go.
The next gen. They taking over as soon as I can get up out of here. Okay. So those are 3 of them, our 4. Those are our boys. And you've seen them around here before. Some of you who look at us on social, or you've even watched a special edition podcast or two. I've had my boys in the studio several times. And that was James on the rightmost. And he had the Cash Compound shirt there. We were in the pit of despair. One of the things we did this summer and last summer was we went to those jump parks, those trampoline parks.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, and we just school starts this week for us, and it expired. Our jump park membership
Your pass?
it
It was summer pass.
was expired 2 days ago.
Yep. That's tough. So this is my son. You can see this is his graduation photo from K5. So funny story. I'm trying to plan a little bit on our calendar and like some things we're going to be doing later on in the year. I spent probably a good 20 minutes in the school calendar looking for first grade graduation date. Could not find it. This is very not good. I'm trying to do something in May.
You are
When
homeschooled.
is the first grade graduation date? I'm scrolling. Why would they have K5? I know K5. We already did that last year. I see graduation. Wait a second. You don't graduate from K5 from first grade, folks. You don't graduate from first grade.
Jonah, how many years did you go to traditional school?
How many years?
Yes.
K5 through 12. So I guess it's not 12 if I went to K5. So that's already at 13, right? And then
You did go to K5. I went to your graduation.
Yeah, so 13, and then I did an extra year, so I'm at least at 14.
Yeah, I'm saying how many did you go to traditional school? The rest of us know you don't graduate from 3rd grade.
I didn't. If you're trying to plan things early as a good parent, and yeah, I just forgot. Anyway.
You graduate from the first year, you graduate from the last year. A lot of times you might also have some sort of ceremony when you graduate from certain levels, like primary school or elementary school, middle school or junior high school, and then high school.
There you go.
There you go.
So,
all right.
Anyway, but with back to school season, a lot of people like to do some of these financial vehicles that are geared for the kids and for school. So we thought we'd have a little fun and talk to you about the most prominent back to school financial vehicle, which is a 529 plan. So, Jeremiah, how familiar are you with 529s? Do you know where the 529 came from?
You know,
when
it's
it
funny
started,
because
anything?
I don't, but I thought they started like literally during my lifetime. I'm assuming that I'm wrong about that, but I remember hearing about it mid college,
All right, I can
maybe.
look.
And I thought to myself, that is so genius to be able to, because if you recall out there, how many of you, ladies and gentlemen, who are listening to our podcast, wish that your parents were able to help you out for post-secondary education a little better? Where we came from, that really wasn't a conversation we were able to have as a family. There was no money to be able to support grown children once you got up out the house.
Yep.
Now, fortunately, I did get one time a payout. I got a one-time payout freshman year of college. I did go to school. I've mentioned that millions of times. I had a mass communication degree, and I started school, and at the second semester of my first year of a 4-year degree, my parents did fork over a one-time check of how much do you think it was? It cost me $40,000
it wasn't
to go
a
to
lot
college.
because I didn't get nothing. 2 kids later.
Praise God
so
that I got
$1,000.
I got $1,400.
Yeah, there you go.
$1,400. There was no savings prior to that, and I thought for sure that this idea of the 529 was the coolest thing you could have ever thought of because it's going to force you to save, a forced savings
Force you
plan.
to save. Interesting. So I Googled it while you were chatting, and turns out you were correct. The
Was I?
529 plan was enacted in 1996.
Let's go.
So
okay.
that is absolutely during both of our lifetimes.
So shout out to Atlanta, 1996 for the Olympics. We just got done with the Olympics.
Yep, we did. Well, Paralympics is about to start. Don't forget about them.
Yeah, so we're not actually done.
There you go.
Just done with the regular.
And here's the crazy part that you said. So it's this common misnomer, I believe is the correct term, where you even said it. This is how it's presented by the general public or the legislation, Congress, the IRS. 529s are a saving vehicle. But I'm here to kind of ask, what is it, a saving vehicle or is it an investment vehicle? Which one actually is it? Because they are different, right? They're big time different.
Yeah, so you've got to make sure that you define the term. So that's right. The misnomer is, are we calling something savings when it's really an investment? Are we calling something an investment when it's really savings?
A lot of people do that.
What is the difference? Does it matter? Does it matter?
I think it matters. If you ask people, the average person on the street, how are they saving for retirement? They'll mention an investment vehicle first. First thing they say is an investment vehicle, not a savings vehicle. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's the way that it's been presented to us that we're thinking it's doing something it's not doing. And that's a little bit about what we want to dive into with the 529 plans. I think that it does matter if it's savings or investment because savings vehicles, generally savings vehicles across the board, wherever you get them from, are going to increase in value over time. And the only way that they are decreased or deducted or minimize their value is if you, the consumer, the owner of that product, do something. Withdraw the money, take it out, use it, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Investment vehicles, however, generally have absolutely zero guarantees that they're going up. That's a humongous difference between a savings vehicle and an investment vehicle. Zero guarantees it's going up, and it can go down whether you do something or it does something, or what it's tied to does something. Right? That's an investment vehicle. Investment also implies risk. The more risk you take, normally the higher of a return you could get potentially, but also it's if you take a lot of risk, obviously you could lose a lot of money. But that's kind of my wiki definition of a savings vehicle or investment vehicle. Savings vehicles don't go down unless you do something, right? Think about your traditional savings account at your bank, your high yield savings account, right? That's not moving unless you move it. Now it can go up. It's probably going up by a small percentage, but it goes up, but it doesn't go down unless you do something. Investment vehicles can go down with or without you.
Right. So what's interesting about saying this misnomer classification that you had here? Recently, I was listening to some of the financial stuff we like to listen to around here, and I was reminded that risk is actually the way you codified it is the way most people would think. It's in their mind, like you just said. However, risk is the likelihood that it goes down, not the potential to get more.
Okay.
The higher risk you have is the higher risk it is like it doesn't work.
No.
That's what risk means. Right?
That's even worse.
that's what it is. Risk doesn't mean the higher likelihood to go up. It means the likelihood it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
So here's what I did. I went to our South Carolina website where we live. In South Carolina, the 529 plan is called the Future Scholar Program. It's a way that you can put money into this plan, this program, so you can have it for your children when they want to go to school. And I clicked on the frequently asked questions section, and the very first frequently asked question I want to put up on the board for you guys. So it says the very first thing, what is a 529 plan? That seems like the very first question, right?
Yeah.
And I'll read the first sentence. I want you to give your thoughts on it. A 529 plan is an investment account that can help you save money over time for the high cost of education.
Hold on, run that back by me.
A 529 plan is an investment account that can help you save money.
Stop.
Right. That can help. Wait a second. Didn't we just talk about this?
A 529 plan is an investment account that can help you save.
Mm-mm.
You have a problem with that sentence?
I have a huge problem with the sentence.
Tell
we
us
just talked about
Tell
it.
us
Investment accounts, savings accounts, and investment accounts are not the same. They're not even close to the same.
We are not the same.
Again, right. They not like us. Again, savings accounts go up. They do not diminish, decrease, go down unless you, the consumer, do something. Investment accounts have risk tied to them, like we just learned, and it's the likelihood that it draws down. You can't have an investment account that helps you save. That's not, they don't go hand in hand. That's not a true or correct sentence, right? Mm-hmm. It's also called a 529. A lot of people don't realize this. If it's got a number for its name, the government made that up.
Correct.
They didn't even name it. They just numbered it for where it is in the tax code.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember that when we're talking about the usually described product around here at the Cash Compound, where we're doing code cracking, cash flow type things, we ain't going to do hood rat stuff with our 529 friends.
At all.
What we're going to do is going to be talking about utilizing a vehicle that has guarantees, has growth, it has flexibility of use, it doesn't have tax implications or complications, and you've got something for your family afterward.
So this is really important that you said that. There's a question in this frequently asked questions that talks about, is your investment in this 529 guaranteed?
Okay, so what do you see here?
Yeah, let's just read it. So it says, again, this is directly off the South Carolina site. It says, no, your investment is not guaranteed.
Hold on, run that back by me?
Yeah, it says no, comma. That's the first thing it
So
says.
the question is my investment guaranteed?
Yeah.
No.
And the answer is no. Again, we can keep reading. I will keep reading. But
Okay.
it says no. Your investment's not guaranteed. Okay, it says, please consider the investment objectives, the risks, the charges, expenses carefully before investing in the Future Scholar 529 College Savings Plan. Contact a financial advisor or visit the website for a program description, which contains this and other important information, and read it carefully before investing. So again, let's go back to the question a 529 is an investment vehicle that can help you save. And then, 2 sentences later, it's like, oh, by the way, fees, charges, risks, objectives, it's not guaranteed.
Go watch your butt and go talk to somebody.
What type of savings account is that? It's not a savings account. That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's my point. When we talk about, generally on our podcast, the infinite banking concept, we talk a lot about guarantees. The reason that we talk about them is because the other options out there in the financial space are options like this, where when you hear about it for the first time, you think that's a really awesome idea. I think the concept of saving money so your children can make it through school is also correct and awesome. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. Doing it inside of the government-sponsored plan, I mean, what are we, 2 paragraphs into what is printed on their website, and it already is screaming, do not put your money in here?
That's not what they're saying.
I'm not saying that's what they're saying. I'm saying that's what I'm getting.
Okay.
Is your investment guaranteed? No. So why wouldn't you choose a product that has a guarantee?
Reminder, most people don't know that there are savings vehicles out there with the guarantees. They've gone over the course of the last 111 years. They have gone to the government to solve all their problems, and they're not doing contracts in private realms with second and third parties that can guarantee things. So, reminder, ladies and gentlemen, let me say a few things right here. If you are not that familiar with a 529 plan, basically what you're thinking about, because you probably do know this, let me relate it. It's when your qualified plan from your job meets your kid's college savings. That's what we were talking about. Okay, so we're taking something like, basically the most closely related one is going to be a Roth IRA. Your Roth IRA, and you're building one for your children, and it can be used, not when they retire, but when they go to school.
That's right.
Trade school, college. It doesn't actually, it can be grade school. It can be grade school because they might go to private school. It can work for all that.
Don't get too ahead of yourself. There's an approved list of schools you're allowed to use it for on this website.
In this state. Now, remember, here's another thing. A 529 is going to be per state. Most of the time, you can invest, not save, you can invest in any state's program. Okay, you do not have to use your state's. In our state where we live and domicile, it's called the Future Scholars. But you can decide to get into the funds at most states. It doesn't really matter, actually. And reminder, once you wrap your money or the money for your kids inside 529s, then you need to allocate them to which products, indices, programs, mutual funds, or whatever at that point. Some people are actually out there. I read this earlier. They're putting dollars inside things like qualified plans, and then they don't realize they need to then connect it to some sort of investment. They just got it sitting in the wrapper, and it's sitting there.
And it's not even doing anything.
Yeah, I didn't realize
didn't
lots
know
of
that
people
was a
had that
thing.
problem.
That's
so
crazy.
they put it inside of an account. They open a Future Scholars program for their junior inside South Carolina, and then they don't allocate the money into an investment at all.
So they send the $1,000 there once a paycheck, once a month, whatever they want to do. I'm just making that number up. And they never picked an investment.
So that's a savings account.
So, yeah, that's a terrible savings account, though, because you try to take it out, and now you got the rules and regulations of the 529.
Oh, well, yeah, what I'm saying is it can't go down.
Ooh, yeah.
That's what
Sure.
I'm saying. It can't go
Yeah.
down. At least you put it in a place where it didn't go down because you just wrapped it. But
Yeah.
you forgot or you didn't realize, well, you now have to pick an investment. Maybe your state has 2 or 3 or 4, a little menu of things you can put it into.
So this is a very common question that I think about when I think about 529 plans, right? And when we kind of compare and contrast that to like an infinite banking policy. One of the questions that I think of all the time is what happens if your kid doesn't want to go to school? What do you got?
Well, yeah, there are several options. Okay, playing devil's advocate here or whatever, playing the positive guy, there are several options. So you can now, the beneficiary of this policy,
Yep.
this program, this system, 529, can go to someone else. You can change it. So
Wait a second. So you hold on. I actually found this question on the frequently asked questions spot, and that is one of the options there.
yeah,
Right. It says the second bullet point here for those on YouTube: transfer the account to a new beneficiary as long as he or she is a qualifying relative of the current beneficiary. So you're saying if my son doesn't want to go to school, I can transfer it to my daughter.
or yourself.
I'm old.
Yeah, but you can still go to school, can't you?
No, but I don't want. That wasn't the point of me getting this
I'm
plan.
just saying, just in case your kid
No,
doesn't
I
go,
understand
you can
what
go.
you're just saying.
Yeah.
That seems terrible. Think about it. Put yourself in my position. I've got
All
a
right.
6-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Got it.
Okay, let's say I want to save for college specifically. College is the most expensive potential school opportunity that they're going to have.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to save up a bunch of money. College is going to be expensive. We live in South Carolina. Let's say one of them's going to the University of South Carolina. One of them's going to Clemson. One of them's going to some private liberal art Furman. There you go. That's where they go.
Yep.
So I got a bill for $30,000 a year from Clemson, for $30,000 a year from University of South Carolina, for $25,000 a year for Furman.
Ooh, other way around.
more
Furman's a private
expensive?
school.
Oh, you're right. Private school is more expensive. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay, cool. So let's say that I'm so looking forward to it. I'm saving up all this money. I'm so
You're looking forward to it?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I mean, they're going to
Okay.
go to college. That's an impressive thing,
Okay.
right? I saved up all this money. I got $100,000 sitting in this 529, and my son hits me up one
But
day.
you have
and
3
says-
529s.
Yeah, I got 3.
Okay.
$100,000 total.
Yeah.
And my son hits me up one day and says, "Yeah, I'm not going." My daughter says, "Yeah, I'm not going." My other son says, "Yeah, I'm not going." We're starting a business. We're selling cookies together. We're going to do a family business. We want to come work for you at the Cash Compound. We're not going to go to school.
We don't sell
What-
cookies.
Yeah, I know. But
Well, you
what
can
do
open a new
I do?
division?
What do I do with the $100,000 now?
You transfer it to yourself.
I'm not. I'm old. I'm not going.
You
back
need
to
to
school.
go to ITT Tech.
No.
University of Phoenix Online.
Just to give him the money. I want
Trump
them.
University.
I'm not doing
Take
that.
a class.
So here's where it says
Learn sign
I can
language.
keep the account for other qualified educational expenses for the child. I can transfer it to a new beneficiary as long as that's relative. If they have a disability, I can put it into a different state-sponsored account. Palmetto Able is what it's called for South Carolina. Or I can withdraw the funds, but keep in mind I'm getting hit with federal and possibly state income taxes and a 10% penalty.
Just like your Roth. This is a Roth for kids who want to go to school.
That's what I'm saying. But
Yes.
the reason I bring that up and ask the question is because doesn't it seem like if there was an account that wasn't an investment account, because we don't want to lose the money. Let's not talk about a miracle that I would make it to $100,000 in this 529 when it says in the frequently asked questions part, no, your money's not guaranteed in here. But let's pretend I did it. But what if there was a savings account, true savings vehicle, where I did not have the risk of my money going down. And if my kids want to go to college, I could use it for that. And if they decided not to go to college, no big deal. No withdrawal penalties, no tax implication. I could take the money out and help them with their business, venture, or help them buy that car or house that they wanted. Wouldn't that be a better option than with the 3 paragraphs of the frequently asked questions that we read? No guarantees on what I put in, no guarantee it's going up. And just in case something bad happens, like you've told the government you have this money, they want their cut. I think that would be a better scenario altogether than using a plan like this. And I'm not saying that if you've already got the plan that you've made a mistake. I'm saying there are other options out there. And if you're not paying attention to what the other options are, you could find yourself subject to putting all your money in the 529's savings plan. And then surprise, wasn't savings at all. It was investment. You lost it. It's not there.
I think
things like that.
Yeah. Now I've got to remind you and side on some of our listeners out there who are currently thinking, well, it's better alternative for me to have this forced deal, even with these parameters around it, than doing nothing. Most likely, my kid can or should choose to go to school. They can choose that, and now we've got money for it. And if I hadn't have done this, they'd be up a tree.
Well, I'm saying you're not choosing nothing originally. If you've got a 529 plan, you've already chosen to save money for that child. I'm here to say if you've got a 529 plan, I think, based on what I can read off this page, you've chosen the wrong location.
Well, 100%. But what I'm trying to put into play here for a lot of people is most people don't realize that there is a better option. And this option makes sense like a Roth IRA makes sense. And so if they don't do anything or they're not doing anything, that's probably the best option for the average person. It has some automaticacy to it. It has some...
once a month, once a paycheck.
Yes,
type idea,
it has that going on it. It does have a historic look back average of growth depending on what it's connected to.
They sure do. Like I can pull that up.
Yep, so you can pull that up as well. So they assume there will be growth, and there normally will be growth. Third, they assume their kid's going to school. Fourth, it's not going to be taxed when used for something that normal people tend to use often, and that's a college education, which gets them farther ahead. They don't know there's something better. I'm with you, but I'm trying to side with them for a second and say they don't know there's something better. And if they don't know anything, they probably need to be contributing to this because they realize I probably won't have enough money to send my kid to Furman, Clemson, or South Carolina anyway. So I better do something like this. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to give them a benefit of the doubt.
I get it.
Because there are plenty of people out there, including some of you listeners. Let us know in the comments and chat. You have contributed to a 529. So reminder, my oldest daughter is 10.
Yep.
And for the first 2 years of her life, she had a 529, sir.
Well, because you didn't have any other options.
Because I didn't know better, but that would have been better than nothing because she had like $1,000 in there.
But I'm going,
right?
Would you really consider it better than nothing with a paragraph that says your initial principal investment is not guaranteed? Are we really calling that better than nothing?
Yes.
You can give your money to me,
yes,
and I will not guarantee that I return it. Promise you.
But at least there's a historic look back that says 4, 5, 6, 7, 8%, right? And averages are not actual, but that's probably going to be better than me doing nothing or having to actively manage it. Between those two things, I can sit here and go, there's going to be growth. Most likely. That's all. I'm not saying that that's what I do currently. I'm saying that if the alternative was what our parents did, they should have done this. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
Because our parents didn't do anything. How much money did you get?
$0.99.
Yes. Okay. I got $1,400. You got $0.99. There's a brother between us, and who knows what he did. He went to the Marines. So did he get anything? I have no idea. So that's what I'm saying. And a lot of times out there, people are going, hey, well, I don't want to feel attacked by you guys because I don't know any better yet. Let's first decipher what it is that I'm thinking my options are. We're going to introduce them into something that's better than this, works every time and has guarantees. But based on what they think their options are, this is probably the best shot.
Yeah. So what I'll say is this then. We've got a few videos on our YouTube channel specifically about the other qualified plans, or commonly referred to as government-sponsored plans, that you are aware of. That's 401ks, that's 529, that's 403bs. And specifically, I want to point out our 403b video that is active on YouTube right now that you can go watch if you need some more information about what exactly are these government-sponsored plans, these qualified programs that I'm putting my money into. Because again, from my perspective, if you know that there's a better option, maybe you choose it. From my perspective, maybe we should walk you through just a little bit about where you actually just put the money. Because I think, I've said this a few times when I talk about retirement as a whole, IRAs and 401ks, I think if people really knew the rules and regulations of these plans they were putting their money into, they wouldn't put their money in there. It's the same thing that I mentioned before. How are you saving for retirement, good sir? And he's going to say 401k. That's not a savings vehicle. That's an investment vehicle. If you truly understood the difference, I bet you wouldn't put as much money in there. Maybe some, but not nearly as much. Right?
There you go.
So there you go. You can jump on our YouTube channel. You can find our playlist specifically for those qualified or government-sponsored plans.
Okay, now tell me about the averages. And while you do that, let me remind you, if you didn't know this story, that in this state, the person who is in charge of the 529 programs,
The governor, I think.
is the treasurer.
The treasurer of this.
The treasurer.
Okay.
And
South
I was
Carolina treasurer.
with the treasurer one day on 529, May 29th.
Did you know that in the state of South Carolina, if you are born...
That's
that
what
what you're about to say?
I was about to
Okay,
say.
cool.
That's
I
because
knew
I'm the
that.
one who told you this.
No,
Yes.
I knew that.
If you are born on that day, 529, they spotted you $1,000.
They should have spotted you 529. They missed it, but it's fine.
Oh,
Thousands
did they?
more.
I thought it was 1,000.
It's fine. They
But maybe it was $529.
Spotted you $529. They missed an opportunity there.
So if you wanted to start your kids' program and jumpstart it, they did this whole thing, and he was at the ballpark. He was downtown at the ballpark, and he got to throw the first pitch, and it was like, and boom. And I had a baby born 5/25.
Missed out.
Missed out.
On maybe nothing because it's not guaranteed, but would have been cool story.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So on their website, they've actually got this opportunity where you can kind of look at average annual total returns. You kind of see it at the top of the page in the middle there. And they've got tracks based on age. So I think they base it on age because of how
When
long,
you may start.
Yeah,
when you may
they
start.
but how long the money, can sit in there type
Yeah.
thing. Right? Because if you're, 16 or 17, it's almost impossible to sit it in there 10 years. I mean, it's not impossible.
No, you
but-
just don't go to college till you're 30.
Right. But how many people are doing that? So they don't even have like a figure for that. But on the there's all sorts of averages. But here's the problem with averages. We've talked about this briefly on this podcast before on the show. But why don't you give them the rundown on what's wrong with averages when you look at 17% 1 year average if you start your 529 when they are ages 0 to 3.
Okay. Average returns are not actual returns. So depending on what your stuff does, your investment vehicle does over the course of that amount of time, say it does 20% in 1 year, it does 10% in the next year. The average between 20 and 10 is 15. But that's not going to be the number of dollars. Whatever dollar amount that kicked out is just not going to be the number. 15% average is not the same thing as what a return of 20 and a return of 10 will show up in dollars and cents.
Right.
And
if
so
you want to
you've
put
got
numbers
to be
that,
careful.
it's
to
helpful
that.
too, right? Let's say you have $100, you get a 20% return, you've got 120.
Right.
You get a 10% return on 120, you've got $132.
Right.
132 is what you finish with. 20, then 10. Your average, though, is 15. And so if you see a piece of paper that says, oh, you average 15 each year, let's do that math. You've got $100 and you get 15, you'd have 115.
Right.
You have 115 and you get 15% on 115, you'd have 131.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
131.
So that's very close, obviously, but you guys realize out there, if you just did that math in your head or you just drew out what we talked about, you see that the number is different.
Well, here's the key to that scenario, because the number's really close. So people at home might be thinking, does it matter if I average 15 and I got 20 and 10? Because the number is really close. It does matter, because if you got your 10% first or your 20% first, that influences the number.
Big time.
If you get the 20% on already 110, you with me? It's a lot more than if you get 20% and then you're on 10%, right? Also, when you talk about averages, you've got to understand that if you have a negative year in there at all, it really skews the numbers big time. You can have a negative 5% return and a positive 10% return, so your average is 5. But if you got the negative return first, you're not even close on what the numbers are going to be. And so you might look at a paper that says, oh, I average 5, it's all good. And then you look at your statement and you lost money, because it's all about your new principal when you earn the new figure, not what it averaged.
That's called sequence of returns, ladies and gentlemen. Sequence of returns are a very, very big deal. It changes what dollar and cents amount that you have, even if the averages are very, very similar or the same. Depends on what sequence they came in. Okay, so we talked through our state treasurer. We talked about what it is, and I think what we're going to have to get folks moving toward is understanding what is the alternative. If this is one of their first times listening to us here on this channel, the reason that we play around and beat around the bush so much about why these other plans and qualified plans may not be what you're thinking is because there is a better alternative with guarantees, growth, income tax freedom, and unrestricted use of the money while the growth still happens. Yeah. I know I said that so fast. You did not follow it, ladies and gentlemen. So many of you, I think, listen to us. You might be driving, you might be running right now on the treadmill, and you do not realize how powerful it is to be able to have the guarantees on these things.
Yeah, so let's equate it to the 529 that we're talking about. What we're saying here, to your very last point, you said lots of things, so your very last point is you can give the money to your kid to go to school, and your 529 plan still earns like it's all in there. That's what we're saying is available inside the alternative. How cool is it to spend money and save money at the same time? Be able to have access to use it to go accomplish something, but at the same time, it's still earning. That's what the alternative holds.
Yes. Now, and we would also be remiss if we did not tell you that in the last year, there have been upgrades to how 529s work on a taxable sense, because now basically they can be rolled over into acting like they're a Roth IRA. So if you don't go to school, your kid does not go to school, they don't end up starting a bakery, or they do end up starting a bakery and selling for the company that your family business runs, they now can get that rolled over. You can roll it over and it starts to act like it's in a Roth account. So it can keep going, it can keep growing. It's not going to be penalized because you didn't go to college. You didn't go to college. You got a scholarship to go to LA 2028 to be doing pole vault with Snoop or whatever it is, or you went to the service and the U.S. government tried to pay for your college.
Whatever. There you go. The problem you run into with that scenario, though, of course, is taxes. Taxes is what you run into, but that we should probably save that for a different episode.
Sure. Yeah. Taxes are, they act differently on those things because over time taxes are going up and they're getting wider spread, even though a Roth, you're not going to have taxes on what you pull out. So I know, don't get that confused. Don't get it twisted, everybody. We're not saying that you get taxed on that account. Don't at me, bro. What we're saying is that there's more taxes over time and your money was locked up. If your money's locked up, you can't get to it, then you're going to be penalized to use it. Taxes are going up or getting wider. This money is not being used for anything. So you've got money stored away. Now, Jonah, another thing that you did not mention is there are contribution limits.
There sure is.
Contribution limits to that. There's not contribution limits in the world of third-party insurance utilizing that. But tell us about I don't know what they are. What are some of the
contribution
limits?
I got it pulled up, man.
Okay.
I got the FAQ. So in South Carolina specifically, contributions to a single person across all 529s, no matter who starts it, just in case grandma starts one and you start one, cannot go over $500,000, basically, $540,000.
Okay.
And then if you particularly contribute to more than one person's 529, then your contribution limits apply to your beneficiary, not the account owner or the contributor. So that's easy. Basically, it's saying if the 529 plan was for my 6-year-old, we can't ever put in more than 540. It doesn't matter. I personally can contribute to my sons and my daughters. Who cares? But my son can't ever have more than 540. So you've got contribution limits inside the 529s.
Okay. There you go.
You've also got taxes, like we were chatting about, but we're going to leave that for a different day. Don't think you're getting out of taxes. You gave the government your money. It's literally a 529 plan. They didn't even name it. It's there.
They qualified it as your dollars, your income is all subject to taxes. Here's how you earmark some of it for a certain reason, so you don't have to pay as many taxes on it.
As many, keyword.
As many,
Right.
Basically. That's what we think anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, we want to give a quick shout out to our fan follow of the week, which is on YouTube, actually. So on YouTube, I believe that's a subscriber. We really appreciate you. The subscriber channel is Sugar Peach. And technically, that is Sugar Peach Chicken and Fish Fry. Now, this gentleman I actually spoke with last week.
Let's go.
And this gentleman is actually in underwriting right now with a policy, trying to get started with his own very first infinite banking policy, because Sugar Peach is his brand, his restaurant. He's thinking about doing some key person insurance and some fun stuff like that.
Let's
but
go.
we want to give a big fan follow there. If you're watching or you hear your name shout out or anything, give us a comment, drop us a line. I know we were chatting earlier. You probably have my number. Feel free to send me a text, that sort of thing. And we appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gents, hopefully this is clear in a very conversational way. We've helped you understand some of the pros, cons, and the contribution differentiation inside 529 and utilizing a whole life insurance policy that could be used for your kid's education or anything else. It doesn't even matter. So today I was trying to help out many of our people. And if you thought that the best plan of action for your kids' college education or something very similar in terms of future scholar was putting your dollars into a qualified earmarked environment of a 529, and you want to explore now understanding the guarantees, the flexibility, the no limit ability to be able to utilize with growth the growth inside a whole life insurance or infinite banking plan, we're here to talk to you about it. But do not be fooled, ladies and gentlemen. Saving is not the same thing as investing, and there are things that you need to be aware of when you're putting dollars away for your kids' future education and the opportunities that they have to take care of themselves and you. We want to talk to you about that.
You are now tuned to the banking bros. Said we couldn't make it, drink or settle, this the life we chose. Gave a lot of game, we never got a lot of things. Bow your head and say the prayer, we taught you how to be the bank.
So we appreciate your time. Thanks for listening and watching us talk through and walk through what a 529 plan is and whether or not you feel that you should keep contributing there or maybe explore another option. If you're interested in getting more information about the other options, please feel free to reach out to us. You can do so by clicking the link in our bio, the link underneath this video, the link in whatever link platform you're looking at will be around to talk to you, and we can't wait to do so.